Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind. Now, of course, the pearl clutchers are doing what they do best. Pearl clutching, feigning moral outrage, we get it. Oh, how dare he? Yeah, we get it. Some people are very offended by Vivek's performance at the Republican debate from just the other night. I know there's a very loud minority of people who are just so offended by Vivek's performance, and I think I have a very simple message for the people crying on Twitter.
Life's tough, get a helmet, man.
Get a freaking helmet, okay? Some people are outraged over Vivek's performance. I am elated. Absolute pure joy. Beautiful bliss, I might even say. This guy is a freaking rock star. This guy is what I hoped Ron DeSantis would be, to be completely honest with you. No holds barred, does not give a hoot, and most importantly, calls out the corrupt political class without hesitation. Just freaking goes in, gets the job done, says what really frankly needs to be said. Listen, if you're not offending people with your rhetoric, if you're not offending people on a debate stage surrounded by a bunch of politicians, you aren't doing anything. You're another milquetoast status quo loser. And look, if that's what people want, if people simply want the status quo and not to be offended and not to shake things up, that's your opinion. I'd rather take it to these politicians. I'd rather hit hard, hit the facts, regardless whether the rhetoric is offensive, harsh, controversial, whatever it is. Say the damn truth. Say it with confidence. And that's exactly what Vivek is doing. This guy's an absolute beast. Let me show you guys his best moments. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So the hope was that Nikki Haley would take on Vivek Ramaswamy. She'd show herself as this, really feisty leader with a whole lot of foreign policy experience. She's the preferred neocon candidate. I mean, obviously. She was having this massive rocket surge to the top. Well, Vivek ended her career.
I've preached this to the left, but it's even worse when Republicans try to play the same game. We're talking about that trans issue. And Nikki Haley's campaign launch video sounded like a woke Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light ad talking about how she would kick in heels. At the first debate, she said that only a woman can get this job done. That's what she said. After the third debate, when I criticized Ronna McDaniel after 5 failed years of leadership of this party and criticized Nikki for her corrupt foreign dealings as a military contractor, she said that I have a woman problem. Nikki, I don't have a woman problem. You have a corruption problem. And I think that that's what people need to know. Nikki is corrupt. We're marching towards fascism under Biden. Jack Smith has subpoenaed every last retweet that someone has issued from Donald Trump in the year 2020. The only person more fascist than the Biden regime now is Nikki Haley, who thinks the government should identify every one of those individuals with an ID. That is not freedom. That is fascism. And she should come nowhere near the levers of power, let alone the White House. Now a lot of the neocons are quietly coming along to that position, with the exceptions of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine. And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. What happened to Israel was dead wrong. What Hamas did was medieval. It was subhuman. It was immoral. And we have to call that out for what it is on October 7th. But to say that that was an attack on America fails a basic test. I mean, Nick, if you can't tell the difference between where Israel is and the U.S. is on a map, I can have my 3-year-old son show you the difference. That is irresponsible because it has major consequences, because that doesn't leave room for what actually is an attack on America. So I believe I have the strongest pro-Israel position actually on the stage, even though it's a little bit different than the standard GOP talking points.
I absolutely love it. And you know why I love it? Because Vivek is essentially mirroring my exact opinion. He's saying the exact same thing that I said in the first debate video when I countered Nikki Haley attacking Vivek on having no foreign policy experience. Nikki Haley loves to present herself as this foreign policy queen, but what has she ever really done? She doesn't have a track record of success on foreign policy. She simply took money from lobbyists, is connected to the world of the Pentagon, the war machine, and she portrays that as experience. That's not experience. That's just being in. 2 entirely different concepts. Real experience is real frickin' experience, knowing exactly how to get the job done. I'll just make an example based on what I know. What I do is YouTube. Let's say you had a corporate stooge. Let's say you had Nikki Haley, supported by the war machine, supported by big networks. You could give her $8 million, give her a YouTube channel. She will not compete with me because she doesn't have the same experience. She doesn't know how to play this game. She doesn't know how to analyze the algorithm, how to analyze the market. She hasn't developed any relevant marketing skills. She doesn't know how to do the YouTube thing. She could never compete with me. But of course, on her resume, it'll say YouTube experience, ran a channel, syndicated radio host, blah, 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 with network, whatever the network is. I think Megyn Kelly's a good example of that. She's a YouTuber these days, working with Sirius XM, but she's getting like 20,000 views a video. She doesn't have experience. Just because she's backed by lobbyist power and corporate interests doesn't mean that she's the right person for the job. It means absolutely nothing. In fact, it might even be a disadvantage because Nikki Haley views everything from the insider Washington lens. The same group of people who have been screwing you over for frickin' generations, for decades upon decades. And that's the exact point that Vivek hit. He hit it hard. And I don't think Nikki Haley comes back from this. It doesn't necessarily mean that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to shoot to the top because, look, it's, Trump and Vivek basically the same thing. And at the end of the day, this whole Republican nomination process is pretty much done and dusted, wrapped. It's already over, so it really doesn't matter. But just because Vivek probably won't, shoot to the top doesn't mean he can't take people down with him, and that's exactly what he did. And if you thought that he ended with Nikki Haley, absolutely not. He took Chris Christie with him.
So first of all, I think we just learned something from Chris Christie. We learned three things right there. First of all, Chris Christie also doesn't know what provinces in eastern Ukraine he actually wants us to fight for. Chris, your version of foreign policy experience was closing a bridge from New Jersey to New York. Yeah. So do everybody a favor, just walk yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal, and get the hell out of this race.
Oh, Chris Christie was real mad at that go enjoy a nice meal ender. Reports are that this was Chris Christie after the fact complaining to Megyn Kelly. I think somebody in the audience reported this as a direct quote. I'm reading this directly off the transcript. Supposedly what Chris Christie was saying at this moment was, "I'm not fat, I am big boned."
I'm not fat, I'm big boned.
I mean, not really, but that's probably what he was thinking, or at least something to the effect. But outside of that, I mean, the same thing applies. Chris Christie presents himself as this, career politician with real experience. What was Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey? Vivek says he built a bridge? Okay, great job, Krispy Kreme. That means absolutely nothing in terms of foreign policy experience. It means nothing in terms of good foreign policy experience. See, that's the thing. Joe Biden has a lot of foreign policy experience, but he has been wrong on nearly every major foreign policy decision in the past however many decades. Experience means absolutely nothing. A quality track record is what matters. You could have a football coach who's been coaching football for 40 years, but he's, as dumb as a rock. He plays the whole tough guy thing and can rally the troops to a certain extent, but it doesn't really go beyond that. He's got a whole lot of experience, but he's not the guy that you're going to hire for the championship squad. You go for the guy who's got an extensive history of success with multiple different teams. The guy who comes in, cleans house, completely restructures your program and takes it to the next level. That's what you're looking for. That to me seems more like a Vivek Ramaswamy, more like a businessman like Trump than a Nikki Haley, a career politician who's been entrenched with all the politicians who've done absolutely nothing for decades. The same people getting us stuck in endless wars, the same people telling us just how important it is that we fight. Supposedly Ukraine is the last line of defense. It's an existential crisis. Putin must be stopped or we will lose America as we know it. Or, as Nikki Haley put it, Israel is more important to America than America is to Israel. The people who tell you just how important it is to fight in Ukraine, yet they can't even mention any relevant province in the area. You want boots on the ground. You want Americans to die for your cause and you don't even know the region. Now, obviously, I don't have a choice. I have to keep this channel as PG friendly as humanly possible. What's on my immediate mind, the immediate thought that comes to mind after laying out the context that I just did, is the infamous Elon Musk message.
Go f*** yourself.
Nikki Haley is the worst. Nikki Haley represents the worst of Washington. She represents everything that you despise about these career politician hacks who don't have a care in the world, who simply play the game, who push the message. Even if it means sending your kids to war, they'll never send their kids to war, but they'll certainly send yours. The faux compassion, the emotional manipulation where there's always some sort of ulterior motive that they're not telling you. She is the absolute worst. And Vivek simply gets a 10 out of 10 for his performance at the debate the other night, absolutely decimating the field and hitting on some of the most important points. Some people are offended, shocked. Oh, he's so mean. But he's not mean. He just hits hard on the facts and tells the truth. And I know that's very shocking for some people, you know. The truth is offensive. The truth is controversial. No, the truth will set you free. And most importantly, telling the truth, and especially telling the hard truths, well, that, folks, is how you actually achieve change. That's how you achieve progress. And so very simply, stop giving these slimy, dishonest, lying politicians the time of day. They don't deserve a single second. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.